this video, I'm going to be talking about why it is a great idea to consider taking piano lessons if you are over 40. Here's the top 5 reasons that I came up with. And these mean so much to me because I did this. I took music lessons, piano lessons, after having a music degree. And I did it when I turned 40 years old. And it has been one of the best decisions that I've ever made for myself. And it's something that I think a lot of people are very intimidated to do. Thank you so much for all the support that you've given me over the past few months of being on YouTube. I especially appreciate those of you who have given me a cup of coffee. I just love it because it gets me through the day. And I'm so, so grateful and thankful. Hi, my name's Rebecca, and welcome to my music studio. This is actually outside my music studio. See? We're here in the Southwest on a beautiful spring day, and I thought it was the perfect time to talk about something that is really near and dear to my heart. So this is a little bit of a different kind of a video for my channel, but I hope that you will come along with me to find out why I believe that it is super important and a great idea to take music lessons past age 40. On my channel, I love talking to beginner pianists who maybe have been playing the piano for a really long time, but do not know how to sit down and make beautiful music every single time they play the piano. Or possibly you've never picked up piano before. And this is the first time that you sat down at the piano. You want to play more than just a little melody with your right hand. I have been teaching piano lessons for a few years now, and in that time have had some adult students who come in and are really motivated and excited, but at the same time, they want to get past just playing a little melody. They want to make beautiful music right away. And that is possible. At the same time, it's something that I never learned in my music journey. And so I thought that would be a great opportunity to teach others what I had to teach myself, in spite of the many years that I've had taking piano lessons. So the first reason that I think that it's important to take piano lessons, and a great idea, is that it is very self-empowering. So when you are young, if you took piano lessons, like what had happened in a lot of people's lives, your parents are paying for it. They're the ones who either see a musical gift in you, or they just want you to have something maybe that they never had. And so they pay for piano lessons and you do that religiously. But maybe it was never your choice. When you're an adult, you get to make those decisions on your own. And because it is your personal choice, it somehow becomes more fun and something that you are really ready and willing to do. So here's my personal story. I took piano lessons from the age of probably 3 or 4 years old all the way up through college. And in that time, my parents always pushed me to do that because they knew that I had a musical gifting. But in the process, I probably had 5 or 6 different teachers with different methods, and I just never, piano was fun, but it was never my instrument of choice. My instrument of choice actually was my voice. I woke up able to sing, and I have been singing since I could talk. And so, because singing was so easy, piano kind of was a little bit harder for me. And in the process of all of those years of piano, I really wasn't as great of a piano player as you would have expected after almost 20 years of taking piano lessons. I went to a liberal arts college in Ohio. It was a wonderful, wonderful program. I got a fantastic education in music all around there. But the one thing that was lacking was my piano education because I really wasn't pursuing it too much. I was pursuing voice. But when I graduated, I started teaching piano lessons and I realized the gaps that I had there. I also realized that I had never been taught how to make beautiful music when I sat down at the piano. So if I was out somewhere and somebody found out I could play, they would be like, "Oh, play something." And I thought, well, I can't play anything because I don't have anything memorized. I had no idea how to just use music as therapy or just to play for fun. That wasn't part of my experience. Playing was simply sitting down in a practice room and practicing and then getting my work done and then moving on. And so I realized my need and the gap in my education. So when I turned 39 years old, my children were getting a little bit older, and I decided that this is something as a music teacher I need to do. I need to invest in myself. And so I found a very qualified teacher who was amazing, and I started taking piano lessons. It was one of the scariest things that I've ever done because I thought, you know what, there's going to be so much judgment here. I'm a music teacher and I really have lost so much information. I don't know how to do things. I had gaps there that were embarrassing to me, um, especially with my profession in being a music teacher. However, it was such a great experience because it really was something that I wanted to do and wanted to grow in, and I was able to do that. Here's a small clip of me at my first piano recital when I had just turned 40 years old, and the lovely Paige Turner is my daughter. The second reason that I believe that everyone should make music a part of their life after age 40 is something that really, really resonates with me. And that's the fact that music goes over all parts of your brain. I have a personal story about this as well. But before we hear that, just understand what taking piano lessons can do for your brain. So, the left side of your brain is the logical side. And when you are learning to read music and learning to tap out rhythms, you are using that side of your brain because you often hear, right? Music is math. So, it is that logical side of your brain that is being worked. The right side, I tend to be a right sided brain person, is the creativity side and the side that is really worked when you make beautiful music and you can hear how things fit together and how to make music emotional. That's the creativity side. So both sides are working together when you create music. Not only that, we have the prefrontal cortex, which really focuses on memory and focus. And this is something that as we age, it goes down. And so if you're working on something that is working on focusing on a particular problem and then fixing that problem and then remembering it from the next time to the next time that you practice, it is working on that prefrontal cortex. We also have the auditory part of our brain. Obviously, we are hearing the input as we are playing or singing. We're hearing the input always coming into our brain, and we have to process that. So your entire brain is covered when you are working on the piano. Personal story here, and I'm going to try to not get emotional, but it was so apparent to me how music works on memory and focus. So I have a young son who is a teenager now. He's almost 15. But when he was 7, 8 years old, he was diagnosed with a very serious and very rare seizure disorder. He was having hundreds and hundreds of seizures a day. He was basically having little brain injuries every single time he would have a seizure. And because of this, all of the things that you normally do were interrupted. So, taking a bite to eat, he would have something on a spoon, he would have a seizure, then forget what he was doing, not able to get that food to his mouth. And he would forget how to get to his bedroom in our house, or how to put things away, or even how to find the bathroom. It was very, very difficult, obviously, going through that experience. But the thing that was so amazing to me, he's always had a musical gifting. And from the time he was a very small child, and he loved to sing. So the minute that he would start singing, we'd put music on and he would start singing. Number one, he knew all the lyrics, all of them, more than I knew. And he would say them all without hesitation. And number two, when he was singing, he did not have any seizures. His brain was working together, music was going over his entire brain, and essentially healing his brain when music was happening. It's something that I don't know that I truly would believe if it had not happened to me in my family. And I started researching a little bit about why that was the case. It was truly unbelievable. So here's a little video, a clip of him after one of his brain surgeries singing. I just thought you would enjoy.
Oh my, okay, maybe don't head bang.
And I'm sure that some of you will ask, but he is doing really great now, and he has been seizure free for 5 years and counting. And God has done an amazing work in his life, and we're just so thankful. So, you see how music can truly heal the brain, and the brain is elastic and it is constantly changing all the time. Instead of that decline that happens when you're over 40, I believe that music will keep you sharp and strong for years and years to come. In addition to that, we have another reason that I believe that music is going to be a great idea after 40, and that is that it supports mental health. When you're over 40, you know that we've been through some stuff. Life's hard. You can't go through childhood or young adulthood unscathed. It's just how it is when we live in this world. And because of that, we have stress. Cortisol is the stress hormone. And when you are overrun with cortisol, it is bad for your health. It is bad for your body. And music helps that cortisol to come down. So I've mentioned this in a lot of my other videos, but I use music now as a form of therapy. And there are times when my husband has laughed at me because I rage play. If I've had something really bad happen and I'm feeling really angry, I will sometimes go into the piano and I will play, and it's almost like I'm beating the piano, playing something, working on it over and over again. And after a while, my stress just starts to go down. It's pretty amazing every single time. If I've had a hard day where I really can't do a lot of mental thinking anymore, I will sit down and just pick out an easy chord progression and just play something beautiful. And it just kind of helps the stress melt away. Mental health is so important. And as we age, I can only imagine that things get even more stressful as things are happening in our life. And this is a great way to combat that mental stress. The fourth thing that's really cool about being over 40 and taking music lessons is the fact that you have the ability to now progress very quickly. So, as you know, I am a music teacher myself, and I teach a lot of young children. And they'll start maybe around age 5 or 6 and go with me for several years. And some of them up through high school, and a couple of them past high school and into young adulthood. And it's so great to see that. I can tell the ones who are, you know, really motivated, and they have a great time, and it's really fun. However, when you're an adult, like we mentioned before, this is your decision, and you are able to put into it what you want to get out of it, which is really cool. So if you have a goal, say you want to be a concert pianist, go be a concert pianist. But that's very different than learning the kind of piano that I'm teaching on here, which is how to sit down and just make music. So if that's your goal, then you can progress in that quickly. With the ability to make a goal and to be able to stick to that goal, we can make practicing very intentional and focused based on what you want. So, if you want to become a concert pianist, I would recommend doing a whole bunch of technical skills, working on those scales over and over and drilling those into your hands so that you get them. If your goal is to play for fun, I would recommend sitting down and learning chord progressions and understanding how the scales fit into that. So, you are able to get out of it what you put into it, which is really great. Practicing is something that is a very difficult skill to teach and to get people on board with as a child and even as an adult. So children don't really want to put the work in because they're all about fun, as they should be. They're children. And so I do a lot of practice games and things like that, and teaching them different practice techniques so they are getting practicing in, even though they don't necessarily realize that they're practicing. My teachers didn't do that growing up. If I can find the picture, I'm going to put it right here, of myself practicing when I was probably 13, 14 years old. This is basically how I felt about practicing every single time. If I didn't find the picture, you can just imagine in your brain a very not happy girl. That's what practicing usually is. But as an adult, practicing became fun for me. It became something that I couldn't wait to do because I could see my progress. I knew why I was doing something, and I was able to gauge how long I spent at the piano and how much I wanted to put into it. I have to laugh every time I have an adult student, whether that is a vocal student or a piano student, both of them. Without fail, adults want to know why you do something. It's not just do this because I told you. They want to know why the scales fit in. Why is it important to understand how to read music? Why is it important to understand the rhythms? And once you realize that there is a purpose behind all of these technical skills and all these other things, then it becomes a lot easier to put that into your practice time. And lastly, I believe that it's a great idea to take music lessons after you're 40 because you are leaving a legacy, both for your family and your friends, but also for your future self. A lot of skills die off and you're not able to use them in the future. But it's pretty amazing. It's kind of like riding a bike. If you haven't ridden a bike for many years and then you get back on and ride again, you may be a little bit unsteady at first, but then in no time at all, you'll be riding quickly around the block. That happened to me, so I know that that's true. But the same thing happened in music. So when I had studied music basically from birth all the way through age 20, 21, when I graduated from college, I didn't do any more studying at that point, really wasn't playing as much, and I lost a lot of my ability to play. I got married, I had babies, I raised them, and probably had about 10, 15 years there where I really wasn't doing much musically at all until I started coming back. So when I came back and I took piano lessons and started practicing on my own, then I started performing more. I got a job in my church as a worship leader and started playing every single week again using chord charts and things like that. Then quickly I began to get better in my skills. And I'm continuing to do that. So I'm sure that if you come back to piano, if you've never played for years and years and you think you can't, you can. Just get back into it, and within a very short time, you'll be able to play again. Also, if this is your first time, that's great as well. So, what you're investing in now will be there all the way to the future. I love watching the videos that I have seen of people in nursing homes and how music just brings them back to their childhood. They're able to just remember things that they were not able to remember before. It's truly breathtaking, and it is something that's going to be with you forever. So, it's a gift for your future self. It's also a gift for your family and friends. Even though my teenage boys right now don't necessarily love to sit down and listen to me play a concert, I'm pretty sure that in the future they will appreciate the fact that I'm able to do music, and it will just be a part of my memory when I'm gone and they're still here. Let me know down below if this is your first time ever jumping into the waters of playing music, whether that is on the piano or another instrument. Let me know how it's going. I love hearing about your progress and the things that you're learning and your excitement. It is all so exciting to me, and I get to be there as part of your journey. And so I hope that you continue to follow me for more tips on how to make music every single time you sit down the piano. The sun has changed a little bit. It's getting in my eyes, but it's the perfect opportunity to say goodbye. And I hope that this has challenged you to consider taking music lessons if you never have, and to continue on in this journey. If you feel like you're not making progress, you are. Just keep on going. Don't give up. This is the prime opportunity that you have to continue in your music journey. And I hope to see you on this channel as we continue to make music together every single time you sit down at the piano. Until then, I will see you in the next video.